today, we will talk about three things. We will talk about Donald Trump's insanity from the Oval Office, his lies and smearing of Nicolle Wallace. We will talk about his attacks on national forest land, his executive order that will permit logging in some of the most pristine places on planet Earth. And lastly, we will talk about his insults to America's allies. This is The Warning. Let's start there. In the Oval Office, where Donald Trump holds court, like John Gotti might have at the Ravensbrück Social Club, the nation's media asks their banal and inane questions, and today's was, would the United States adhere to its Article 5 responsibilities and obligations and defend our NATO allies in Europe if they were attacked, which the treaty obligates us to do? Here is Trump's answer. Before I show it to you, let me note, Donald Trump has never defended anything or anyone, but listen to him talk in the first person. Listen to him personalize the United States as his, as if when an American soldier fights, they're fighting for Trump. This is a sick and deranged, malignant narcissist. And because 49.9% of the American people voted for this, we stand at the edge of catastrophe. Let's watch.
Are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them. I got into a lot of heat when I said that. You said, oh, he's violating NATO. And, you know, the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, I know the guys very well. They're friends of mine. But if the United States was in trouble and we called them, we said, we got a problem. France, we got a problem. A couple of others I won't mention. Do you think they're going to come and protect us? They're supposed to. I'm not so sure.
Donald Trump says if America was attacked, our European allies wouldn't come to our defense. Tell it to the mother of the British soldier who died fighting because America was attacked, or the Canadian soldier. Look at this flag-draped casket, or the Dutch, the French, the Germans. Many, many nations gave their sons because this country was attacked. Donald Trump, sitting behind the Resolute desk, takes the position that Russia, led by a murdering tyrant, and Ukraine share a neutral proposition when it comes to the war that was begun by Russian aggression. Donald Trump has cut off military aid to Ukraine. He has cut off food aid to the poorest places in Africa. When he was speaking on Tuesday night, children were beginning to starve, and they will starve, and they will die of starvation. And it is a miserable, miserable death. Nicolle Wallace did not attack a young cancer survivor that Donald Trump had his Secret Service director make an honorary Secret Service agent with the presentation of a badge during an address to the nation. It was a scene that delighted the young man, but it was also a moment that was something out of American Idol. The world is spinning, and Donald Trump is producing a show. And in that show, Donald Trump is a compassionate man. Donald Trump, when it comes to the theater of Donald Trump, is cast as something very different than what he is. And that was the point of the propaganda. That was the point of handing this young man a badge. Donald Trump gave a Secret Service badge to a boy while he is sentencing other boys and girls to death by cutting off the cancer research that saved this boy. Let's watch what Donald Trump said about Nicolle Wallace and appreciate he said it because what Nicolle Wallace said about him was the truth. It scalded him, and he reacted like a burned monkey. Let's watch.
Frankly, what Nicolle Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, but and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign.
Now, here is what Nicole Wallace said.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Shouldn't we all wish this? That should this young man become a police officer, that they never face this? Trump's murdering mob of mayhem, 6 suicides of police officers. This spectacle took place in the exact spot where that mob came to hang the vice president, to kill members of Congress, to destroy the Constitution, to make a man who lost an election that he still refuses to concede he lost dictator. That was the goal. And that was what Nicolle Wallace pointed out, because Nicolle Wallace is tough and Nicolle Wallace tells the truth and she has integrity. And so MAGA has gone nuts. When you tell the truth, you will be attacked by a vicious circle of propagandists at the Daily Caller, at Fox News, in the Daily Mail. The right-wing media will not tolerate the truth or criticism about Donald Trump. There are many terrible things that are happening in America, but amongst the worst is the attack on the American West, which is an ephemeral place, beautiful beyond words. Generations of Americans before us have preserved the beautiful places, the open spaces. These are America's cathedrals, magnificent national parks and forests. And today, Donald Trump signed executive orders that will begin their clear cutting for money, for gold. Let us cut down the trees. That's the deal that Trump is offering. He is a rapist in every sense of the word. He will rape the land for nothing. He has no interest in preserving anything. He is no king. But if he were, then he would be the locust king, the greatest taker and defiler that has ever been in this country. The first American president to switch sides in the middle of an ally's desperate fight for survival, to take the side of a dictator. He is our Nero, drunk on the attention and the power. His arrogance is dripping off of him, and he is angry, and he is vengeful. And today, the most powerful man in the world sat in the Oval Office, clenching his fists, demanding the firing of Nicolle Wallace and Rachel Maddow, because they dared to pierce the veil of bullshit and propaganda and said, no, this is a vicious man. And how do we know? We know from his conduct. And so while that little boy was given his badge, the baby starves and cries in Africa. And then, as the starvation nears its end, the crying stops. And the face of the child becomes the face of the living dead. This immorality is what Nicolle Wallace was speaking about. His viciousness is what Nicolle Wallace was speaking about. His lack of character is what Nicolle Wallace was speaking about. Nicolle Wallace didn't attack a young boy. In fact, the only person in this entire equation who was fighting for him was Nicolle Wallace. So we live in the world now where up is down and down is up and left is right and right is left. And Donald Trump will say we are great when we are being made poor because our values are being shredded and our great temples of God's creation are being cut down. Our allies have been betrayed. Our nation's noble purpose has been viciously undermined, and we must fight back, my friends. We must fight back. We must tell the truth. We must organize, and we must prepare to vote and to bring many more people to the polls than voted last time. Nicole Wallace, she told the truth, and she did it in an eloquent way. The truth is what will defeat Donald Trump. Let me show you again what the House Democrats are doing.
Use your character.
This is not the way. Nicolle Wallace illuminated a path. It's a better way. The truth about Donald Trump is very simple. He's a bad man doing bad things to our country. And at every opportunity, he will look for shtick. He will look for an event where he can play a role and try to be a good guy. But even the stupidest amongst us must know that's not true. This is The Warning. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel on YouTube and on Substack. Thank you.